For empowered women, we love to love, and that's because we love ourselves first, and then we also know how to love others. And that's because we have secure attachment and integration in the brain. And so, loving yourself first doesn't mean I'm going to take from you, it means I know how to tell you what I'm thinking and feeling all the time. And healthy self worth women, we don't manipulate or distort information in a way that I have seen those who do not heal their trauma do. So, again, for anybody who's new, welcome. I'm a 5D mystic in the Enlightenment Soul Age group, functional adult, and I am woo lady because I know not everybody believes in mystics, and I'm pseudoscience lady because I bring to you human, spiritual, and spirituality elements, which are subject matters, but really it's also because I'm not the researcher doing the research in the lab and academia stuff or the expert stuff. I'm an expert on personal development, self-help, being a human, and it's a consultant and a lot of other words. I don't like to do any of this, but sometimes a little bit of it is good. And here's the thing, we don't use jargon, buzzwords, any of that fancy stuff, because the only ones who want fancy are facades, meaning lost boys, lost girls who want Peter Pans. I'm not talking to Peter Pans. Peter Pans are maladaptive child behavior people when they meet me because they're 7 to 14 charming and I notice their pattern like that. So healthy self-worth women, you know what we care about? We care about spirituality, a life of meaning and connection beyond the solo self. And so while the external might not notice it, we'll know that they're confused. And you know why? Because a childhood trauma survivor is confused when they meet a safe, haven, secure-based body. They're confused all over the place. They don't like it because they want you to take their side. Because a 0-1-year-old with a 3-year-old wants another human being to take their side. It's called you want to be seen, to be soothed, to be safe, to be secure. I learned about this and I keep on learning it from attachment trauma information. Okay, so IHP is for people who want to be emotionally aware, accountable, self-regulating, and they know that thoughts are everything and so are emotions. Common sense in my book, and I don't plan on changing the way I present it, but I do plan on trying to help people to figure out it's worth it. If you want to be a grown, emotionally in-depth person, and keep tuning in. If not, it's cool. Thanks for stopping by. Okay, so healing trauma. The people who do it seriously, they need people like me because we're not going to talk shit to you, not behind your back. We're going to talk shit in your face. And we're not going to be, telling you that you're a piece of shit. That's a whole different story. No, we're going to tell you how we feel about something. Direct communication. If you can't handle it, it's not my problem. And that's because if you don't tell me what's going on, I can't help you. So not my problem because I want to ignore you. No, not my problem because if you don't take ownership of what is an emotional trigger, then I'm not going to be able to help you to get into your ventral vagal nervous system. And that's where I'm not a mantle of mental health or a mantle of yoga or a mantle of spirituality. To be conscious means that you can consistently negotiate with yourself here, and then know, oh, look, I do have opinions, but I'm not going to project any of them because I have a subjective experience. Maria has a subjective experience. Wow, no shit, Sherlock. Really? Yeah, but you know how many people don't realize just how far they don't notice when their emotions are tainting a picture? My emotions taint too. But see, I try my best to put them to the side. And then again, my content is only for the human love narrative. So I don't need to get rid of that part. Because if you don't love to be human, then you're not going to do personal development. I see the human suffering love narrative all over the place because I bring the opposite. Okay, so we create a community here of people who love to live life, and aliveness is about you having a whole inner child. And when people are healing trauma seriously, what I've seen is they do the emotional lifting. They know what healthy self-worth looks like because they get taught it, but because their body starts to recognize it and no longer be confused by the inner war bullshit in the head and the I don't like it, I don't like it, I don't like it. Okay, so when you're a securely attached person and people are not, when you have actual healthy self-worth, which means that you don't have a way of inside of you, you know how to handle what comes up. Okay, so whenever people have presented to me my body language, my tone, my face, something that I'm doing or not doing, I'll be able to take ownership of it. I'm not taking it personally. I learned how not to as a teenager. Okay, so empowered women, again, it's easy to love. It's easy to trust. Why? Because I got secure attachment. Once you have it too, it'll be the same. People who want to harp that horn on, I need to heal from betrayal, I need to heal from this. They have all the people that can help them heal. What I know is if you're whining about it, you're not doing it. Because what I've seen is that when people are taking ownership, they share. The tone is what changes. They talk about the experience, and then they talk about how it's doing and how awesome it feels to be able to empower themselves. Because, see, when you get to notice that you're an inner adult, and that means that you're here, you're like, wow, I feel awesome. I have my emotions, thoughts all over the place. You're not going to be like, I don't want it. The only ones who don't want it, they have this, I fall back to my comfort zone, and they didn't get taught well that this comfort zone is shame, guilt, blame, revenge, envy, jealousy. It's a low self esteem. It's not empowerment. You saying, I have scars again and again and again. I rise from the, yeah, that's your default mode network in pseudo liveness. You keep on returning to this hyper vigilance state. So the comfort zone is because dysregulation is what you know. If you understand the mechanism, you'll understand it because they explained it to you and because you care about your inner well being. And so integration of brain, very capacity for a lot of people. I use words however I want. I make them up. Okay, so don't come here with linear. Come here with systematic. Come here with knowing that we bring together all these different topics. Consilience and consiliency, I believe, is the word and how to use it. Okay, so integration of brain. You're not here trying to tell something or someone what to do. You're here to just listen and participate. And so again, when we love easily. When we love and trust easily. And when we choose somebody to commit to, we commit because we can consistently show up. It's not a risk to settle down. It's not a pain in the ass to have people who are going through their own emotional stuff. It's not ever a pain in the ass. But if you bring to us where you're stagnating, that's a whole different story. Okay, so an empowered woman, again, we love easily, we speak easily, and we do know one thing. I got 24 hours and life is awesome, and I'm not going to spend it with people who don't know how aliveness works. And again, this is with all the respect in my heart for those who are in the, it's hard to do emotions, it's hard to do thoughts, Maria. Okay, there's the Zen master that gives you laundry in your body. Healing trauma, people who do it seriously, they need healthy self-worth people who can say, here's what a ventral vagal nervous system feels like. And every day, not just sometimes. And here's where you're going to be able to get that going from laundry to emotions to, wow, I'm alive, I'm alive, I'm alive. So you become from Pinocchio a real boy, a real girl, a real day. The overflowing with humanity, having divinity descend, what Sadhguru doesn't realize, that's his quote, if you overflow with humanity, divinity has to descend. He's talking about restored embodiment. I know about it because of my attachment trauma information courses. So again, spirituality and sciences, they're like this for the 5D collective. So come on over. And when thoughts and emotions are neutral and harmonious for you, it's because you can talk about it. When your body is soft and expanding, again, you're a functional adult ready to tango intimately with a partner and or partners. Polyamory community, come on over. And so let me see, I have some notes. Some people are afraid of commitment, right? So they don't want to take the risk because they have this thing, I'm going to get hurt. And that is a very sad thing because what people don't realize is that usually, one, if you are healing trauma and or personality disorders with a good therapist, you will want, again, to take a shot, but you're going to want to make sure who your network is. And network is important for somebody healing. Now, obviously, they will know who resonates with them, but I'm going to share with you some stories. And that's because of understanding what borderline personality disorder from Dr. Daniel Fox. I don't like to use the word disorder, and I look forward to when they'll change that because it's really the way that the brain, and it's an embodied brain, adapted to its circumstance. And sciences are showing that people can move out of those disorders because your brain is something that you can change, is the word that the therapist, the attachment, trauma, all those people. And so they say your mind, your mindfulness, and you working with thoughts and emotions and the embodied brain and your body is going to change the structure of your brain. Why? So here's the rundown. The first year of life, we all of us have an attachment system, is the way they explain it. And our attachment system expects consistent contingent communication. So the people who don't want to believe in this, they are still primarily linear thinkers is what I'm going to say, or linear sciences. So they need you to show them every single piece of the way before they can take it into consideration. But also we have schools of thought, and that always happens in any of the subject matters. That's everywhere, which is why only people who are Cuscos will say right and wrong. A empowered person will not say right or wrong. Mahasamadhi. Samadhi is the word I use. Independent thinkers. You learn. You know that not everybody knows everything. Also, a feminine sees the infinite potential in all masculines. This is not one time, all the time. Which is why we are stuck on seeing those who don't do it, if you will, because those who are doing it, they're flying, they're amazing. You see that's flowing, but what catches your eye, and that's because what does the brain do? Keeps us protected from that which we do not want to engage in for reasons of it not, it's really fascinating when you integrate a bunch of different topics. Again, let me come back down to relationships and the people who are afraid of relationships. If they understand their 0 1 year old, then they will understand, okay, I can get home to my true self, which wanted consistent contingent communication, but only in a safe haven, secure based relationship. And so when a person has a confused compass, which is what a childhood trauma survivor will have, thank you, Patrick Tiahan, Dr. Daniel Fox, Dr. Daniel Siegel, Stephen Porges, Gabor Mate, Bezel van der Kolk, Janina Fisher, Peter Levine, all of the great ones, I'm going to call them that I've been learning from and more. So Matopia, Sue Martin, Dr. Albert Wong, his entire Keep, the Awakened Embodied Certificate courses, NICBM, all of the people from NICBM, all the courses. Too many names to always list. But long story short, they all present that a 0 1 year old is going to be living in you as your 0 1 year old, which is why a safe haven, secure base, healthy, self worth woman, man, or they, you're going to be like, nope, that's unsafe territory. And you're going to go back to where that confused compass thinks the safety is. And that's your chit chatter. Chit chatter is going to make up shit about a healthy, self worth person. Because your gut's going to be like, I don't like that. Because your heart's going to be scared. I don't like that. And that's the sad truth, which made me cry when I found out just how deep it runs. And I'm like, okay, that makes a lot of sense. 4D don't know what they're talking about. 3D, not a little bit, not a lot. Everyone doesn't know what they're talking about. Except for my lovely Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. Forgive them, for they do not know, Maria. Blessed are those who believe without seeing, like Pacha tells Cusco. I know you got a heart. Nobody's heartless. And the other path of, what was it? Turn the other cheek. So learning how to turn the other cheek doesn't mean I'm going to subject myself to your projection. It just means that I don't harbor resentment, because forgiveness also, as Dr. Daniel Siegel has pointed out in one of my courses, is all about the past never returns. You cannot change it. And I'm a distance healer. So I do work with people to uncharge the past. And I've done it myself with various aspects. Okay. And so that charge, you work, you process. I'm a Reiki master. And that's why the distance healing. And it's amazing, but it doesn't heal your trauma. It doesn't heal your childhood maladaptive patterns. Because while I can clear the charge and you get rid of shit that you don't need, okay, because a charge is going to weigh down. So there's been freed space for you to do more. The thing is, you're a pattern of yourself. You're a broken record. Only if you live a life of meaning beyond the solo self, and then you have objectivity, my emotions, my thoughts. Okay, now I have space, and I want to expand my herd, and I want human love. Okay, so the people who recognize their 0 1 year old, they're not on Elsa's journey. They're not mantles of mental health. They're not mantles of yoga. They're not mantles of spirituality. They don't say, it's hard to forgive. I can't. I won't. They betrayed me. I don't trust humans. I don't trust anyone. It's a different story if you're still healing. Like when Patrick Tiahan, he shares with his community, we don't need to heal in this way of forgiving people. Nobody says you have to do it. You do it if you're ready, when you're ready. Okay, so he's in the middle of supporting people who need to hear that. You don't have to forgive, because they will be hearing from people like me, forgive, and others, and they don't need that sometimes. They still need to process grief. They still need to process the part that they got shit from their childhood. And that's going to take some time and to reconnect with that emotional body and to then realize I missed out on life from my 0, 1, 3, 4. And so Patrick Tiahan's biggest regret, he shares from his childhood, it made him unkind because he recognizes the lack of intimacy, the lack of safety, the lack of trust, the lack of everything that he had, and how confused too. And I don't know his personal story, but I'm just sharing based on everything that he shares online for his community. And it's a lot better to know truth than to do the fucking stories that those mantles do. So anytime I'm hearing somebody whine, I'm like, okay, that's not a person who's actually doing it. They're just doing this. I want bystanders. Come take my side. Come take my side. I'm a Peter Pan. I'm a Peter Pan. Come on over. So putting that to the side again, when somebody realizes I didn't take a risk on love because I was afraid of actually having true love, which is a healthy self worth partner. It's not boring. When somebody is a coach and tells you secure attachment is boring, change it. Don't use that coach. They have just unmotivated you to get out of what is already hard for you to do. So, a not securely attached person will have a challenge trusting in a securely attached, healthy, self worth person who will tell you you're a piece of shit. You know that? And then will say, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to hurt your feelings. I just wanted to tell you how I was feeling. I can learn to talk in a different way, but I'm still feeling this thing. Are we going to talk about it or not? I want to talk about it. I'm not going to stop. I'm a 3-year old, but I'm a whole 3-year old heart. I'm going to bug you until you talk about it with me. And if I don't want to talk about it though, then I won't talk about it. So it goes both ways. Anyways, there's always communication. Open lines of communication is what we have when we're people. Okay, so if you're healing trauma, that is where you want people who are healthy, self worth, and empowered. If you are a person who has no trauma charges because you have gotten the opportunity, like I did, to have a whole 3-year old heart and you love unconditionally, and so people have flaws and imperfections, it's okay. We talk truth. If they say, I'm working on something, you can't do it that way, well, I'm not going to be able to not do it this way. So, what's our other option? Because this isn't going to work for me. The fact that I can't speak, if you need me to filter, I can't filter. Grown ups talk. Okay, so even somebody who has emotional triggers and knows of it, they will not be making demands. This is not Demand Planet. Functional Adults is not Demand Planet. It is, we are going to talk about how we feel and think and how each of us as a differentiated self works and how we can come together and how we're physically safe to be around each other. Okay, so healing trauma seriously, all these people, they will be serious about it. Whether it's anger management, whether it's a personality disorder that involves narcissism, malignant, or covert, doesn't matter. Whether it's borderline, bipolar, all of the clusters, Dr. Daniel Fox, the antisocial cluster, and then there's a couple of great people who are healing. They're sharing their healing journey. Let me know if you want their contacts. They're on YouTube. Okay, so love is easy for those of us who love. And so is trusting. You can lie to my face and later on tell me I don't give a shit that you lied because, one, as a teenager, I found out what lying is all about. And as an attachment trauma informed woman, you didn't do anything that requires me to scold you. You're not my child, and I'm not going to scold you. And I don't give a shit that you lied because I'm a healthy, self worth woman who's not expecting you to actually be. I'm imperfect and flawed, and you telling me everything sounds like I'm wanting to mother you. And even then, why? I know there's one thing that I'm going to keep looking at for those rules, the law. That's it. Other than that, you and I have no beef. If I have a beef, I'll let you know. Obviously, that's the part. So if somebody says you can't say that, you can't do that, I'll think about it. Nope, actually, I can't. I can't do this thing you just asked me. And so here we're going to share a story, and then we'll move into another topic. I have a girlfriend of mine. She's a really awesome girlfriend of mine. And there came a moment in time where she came straight to me because she's a direct communicator, and so am I, which is where, oh, healthy self worth women, we don't choose people that don't know how to talk to us in our face. When we notice people who don't know how, we ignore it because we're not going to do anything about Cusco's. Pacha, know what's going on because you got a body, I got a body. I'm not going to use my time. What we love are people who tell us shit always to our face, never behind our back because they got balls. So my woman friend, she got balls. And it's funny though because her balls, so she comes to me and she says, you can't be friends with this person because she's okay, let me pause. Okay, so I'm polyamory. It's not unfaithfulness. It's called consensual non-monogamy. Okay, my lovely listeners and viewers, and I know I've mentioned this, and in fact, it's still humorous. There's a lot of misconceptions about the polyamory community. We're not going to talk about that one right now. But what we're going to say is this: I'm a person who you either accept me for who I am or you don't. So, long story short, when somebody is taken off guard in a way that is fascinating, I'm always like, should I inform them of more or not? I don't know. We'll find out, but that's a side note. So my girlfriend, she's not polyamory, is what I was trying to get to. She's definitely monoamory. That's the whole point. But in the meantime, what we got is a contradiction. Because what we got is a man who's being unfaithful to a woman who's he's in a monoamory relationship, so they're heterosexual couples. This is a while back. And my girlfriend, alongside this other girlfriend of mine and another girlfriend of mine, okay, so yeah, this is a serial cheater, but this is a person with another buddy, two buddies. I spotted them from a mile away because I could tell that the flock of geese, I just found it humorous because as I started to get into what I thought was adult land, I just noticed all these Pinocchios with ears and tails, and I'm thinking that's interesting. And their little hangover movie is real, Maria. Sure, okay. People with your maladaptive child behavior, sure, go have fun. You're not living in the land of the living, but I think you are. So you know what's the saddest part about everything? And it's not that it's sad, but it's the fact that you're repeating unfinished business from your childhood. That this is keep on coming in my brain. I'm like, wow, they don't even realize that they're doing everything from 0 to 16 years of age in a shitty small emotional. Because at a certain point, you just keep doing this shame wheel, and it's shitty. It's shitty because there's shame and guilt. They go hand in hand. And there's this inner critic and outer critic, and then they come and say, "Why me? Why me? Why do you think you?" How many times do I have to talk about it? No, I don't. I don't. Once I've mentioned attachment trauma, at least once I've educated you. I've empowered you. I get the Cusco attitude. I get whatever. And then I get, why me again? By the time you come to me the third time, I've shared with you everything I can. This is another side note, which is why we're not going to do, oh, let me judge you. No, I'm not going to judge you. You're doing you. I'm doing me. We're going to walk side by side. I'm done sharing the information that could have helped because you've committed to, no, I don't know how to do emotions. I don't want to. It's too hard. Nope, I don't know how to do thoughts. It's too hard too. It's always too hard. It's okay, it's too hard, 3-year-olds. Go have fun. So my girlfriend with balls, she comes and she says to me, I don't want you to be friends with that woman. And I said, excuse me? You can't be friends with her. I don't let my friends choose who I can be friends with. What's your deal with her? Well, she's with him. She's also dating him. I said, you realize both of you and all the others are lovers, correct? You do realize that you and her and others are nothing. You're not the one he's committed to. Not to mention, I'm wondering where's the one he's committed to, and how come has she not come to check in on him yet? Or maybe she is somebody who. Long story short, I said no, I'm not going to do that. So you have a choice to make. We don't have to be friends, but I don't have my friends telling me who to be friends with. And I appreciate what you told me. I understand. I totally understand because I get it. You're in love with him. She's in love with him. I won't go tell her about our conversations. Like I don't tell you about our conversations with her. This is where it's separate. So you're going to trust me as your friend and know that I choose my friends independently from what you want or not want. It's okay though if you don't want to accept this. I'm understanding what you're presenting to me. I just won't do it. And that's how it works, functional adults. And here's what happens when you have a manipulative, desperate, who gets angry and controlling with the attitude. You're upset, and I'm not going to be fulfilling what you're asking of me because that's not how I lead my time, my relationships. I don't do it. So you also have a choice, but this is not welcome. This is not happening. And these are women. In fact, if you have one thing as an empowered woman is no deal or issues with the men. Yep, none, because I'm a very direct communicator. It's a straight shooter. In fact, here's where, while with the women, because they're friends, I'm practically a little bit more. I would say I'm not soft. I just it's one of those things where I'm not sharing a bed with you, a roof with you, so you and I won't go home together tonight. If I'm coming home with you and you're doing something that's cramping my style, yeah, that's like a clear, it's not a cut. I'm going to clearly and directly say, I can't be myself with you, so I'm out because this is not going to work. And it's not me trying to get you to be me, or no, it's you are not letting me be myself. That's not going to cut it. And that's because my emotions have a right to be expressed how they want to be. So do my thoughts. You don't have to like it. So this is where it's not negotiable, the essence of life or love that you are. If you're a person who knows how to love yourself first, it's because you're 1 year old, you're 3 year old, and you're not doing anything wrong. So when people have said to me, you should change who you are, and this is one of the most fascinating things, is that when you're finished speaking about how you accept who you are, and a person and or people will come back with that, it's only after the matter of the fact I'm like, wait a minute, did that just happen? And in some instances, I'm like, I just told you I want to accept and I love, and what? This doesn't make sense to me right now. Okay, so yeah, we don't negotiate who we are, and we don't have a hard time settling down. The ones of us who are securely attached, but obviously, this is where a lot of people have unfinished business, is what I want to conclude with. And that's why they have a hard time trusting, they have a hard time loving, they don't have their 1 year old. And so they're not securely attached. When you meet a securely attached woman, man, or they, you will meet a very direct communicator, and you'll meet one who's also considerate. And so, again, when you present to me, hey, this is what I'm thinking, feeling, I'm going to talk about it, and then I'm going to let you know right away what I can do and what I can't do. The same thing goes, again, in a partnership. This isn't going to work. That's it. This is going to work. One of my boyfriends, this is where I know exactly why for so many things there was not an interaction, because this is exactly what he knew and still knows. I'm a direct communicator. So if I've told you once, I'm not going to be changing my mind. I mean, this is also the part of where you do learn how not to make things into, black and white equation. But when I say you don't change your mind, it's that I'm sharing to you and with you something that I've considered extensively already within me, not speaking out of my ass. So when you meet consistent, contingent communicators, when you meet empowered women, empowered men, empowered days, you're going to meet a person who's a potshot, because you're going to walk a walk, talk a talk. And anytime somebody says you don't know yourself, you don't know if you will change, yes, I do know myself. And if I say I'm not going to change my mind, because I'm not changing my mind. Which, by the way, within relationships, this is exactly why when people want to tease my teenage relationship because of the cheating, I'm thinking, don't you know what commitment means? It means sickness and in health, death do us part, all that beautiful stuff. Yes, the people who do it the right way are beautiful. The people who do it in another way, and right to who? To an independent lover, there's a way that differentiated selves do it, and that's beautiful. When I see enmeshed people, this is something that I need to walk away from. Okay, so here's the last, and we'll conclude. What is a fairy tale? A fairy tale does not involve making it love is hard, love has boxing gloves, love needs you to be protecting yourself. Anyone who sees love as that is still navigating a default mode network that is in a sympathetic nervous system, is what I'm going to tell you, because they're still expecting to have a dramatic teenager behavior. So that tells me unfinished business. You don't have your 1 year old or 3 year old or 16 year old in the forefront. You have storytelling, gender stereotypes, relationship stereotypes, societal stereotypes. You've got a bunch of shit going on before you can even get to being a free flowing lover who's like, so where's the fun? Let's have fun. Okay. Having fun doesn't mean anything in relationship to the whole sex. No, the people who do the sex on a hamster wheel, they actually, we could talk a whole bunch about that one, and in different ways. Again, from the healthy self-worth integrated brain perspective, what I'm going to share with you is that as long as you have charged child parts that you have not become the emotionally aware adult of, I, as a host here, am saying I'm going to clearly know I got to Cusco in town. What I got is a maladaptive child behavior. And I won't need long to figure that one out because you're going to start yelling like those who want Braveheart. Yeah, you're going to start getting pissy in your pants about something because I didn't pick your side. Because that's what the 1 year old wants. And the 3 year old with the 16-year old who's saying, I know everything about everything and you have to pick my side because it's not only about I know everything about what I want. No, it's I know that everything I want is the way the world should run. And that's where, okay, 3 year old, sure. Don't you know that the world doesn't revolve around you? I got it told to me a lot of times, which is why the people that are around me, though, we get to see each other for who we are and have fun because they have a 3 year old that runs their world. I do too, like my girlfriend, who she said, okay, I get it. It's okay. And that was it. And we're still friends to this day. And I stayed friends. The other girl, oh, this, I have to share this story. This story is great, and then we'll leave the episode. So this other woman, so again, the guy, this total serial dater, oh, he thought I was into him, and I wasn't at all, not even a little bit. Which is where once I found out this tidbit of data from my girlfriend, that's what I was like, okay, now I know what happened. So this is where I need to share a little bit about the story. I would go clubbing with a bunch of people. It was really fun. I love dancing, not drinking, fucking, drugging. Nope, none of that. Drinking moderately, dancing. That's it. Then stay away from me if I'm dancing. In fact, there's a whole way that I danced so that I could make sure that men would not come near me because I'm having fun and I don't want to be harassed, which unfortunately is a real big pain in the ass in any place. So yeah, I will usually try to figure out where to position myself so that I can make sure people stay in their lane because I'm enjoying myself, not needing. Which, by the way, who meets people in a disco? Okay, so again, empowered women, men and days, go to have a good time. It's not about you having to get married. I saw this 22-year-old talking about how short-term relationships are a waste of time because they were being also though interviewed by somebody who was steering them in a specific direction. And that made me laugh so much because as a woman who knows what year it is, I'm like, okay, we can have different types of conversations. So again, oh, it's a beautiful world. So back to the story. This man did think I was into him. I didn't notice because that's not how I look at people. I'm making friends, women, men, days. Okay, so I will not be noticing. And if somebody says they like you, I'm like, no, they don't. If they liked me, they would tell me in my face they liked me. Otherwise, they don't have balls. And if they do tell me, which I've had men, and I say, I'm sorry, I don't like you, they get upset. I'm sorry you're upset. I'm not going to lie to you. I don't like you like that. And that's what happens. And when men say that they get rejected more than women, it's not true. We have the ones, oh, yeah, you better bet, rejection. I know all about that one. It's funny when it happens. It's funny when it happens in a way that you're like, wow, that could have been said in a way different way. So I'm just saying. And it's a funny story. I won't share it though, but I remember it. So, anyways, back to this dude who I didn't realize was thinking I was into him. So, at a certain point, I noticed that we stop interacting and having really great conversations. Meantime, I'm going clubbing with my girlfriends, and I noticed that whole thing that him and his buddy do. And my girlfriend, the other one, the way that I meet her, so I'm saying hello to him at one of the evenings that him and his buddy planned, and I get all of a sudden while I'm saying hello, this woman steps on my foot, almost pushes me to the ground. Literally, when somebody throws themselves on you, but it wasn't in a way that was. I knew what she was doing. I also knew who she was, and that's so how we made friends because she says, "Oh, hi, I'm this," and she introduces herself. And long story short, months go by, if not a whole year, and we're sitting at the beach, her and I. And she says, "You remember the night we met?" I said, "Yeah." I would never forget that one because she almost, I swear, I almost fell to the ground. I'm 4'9", okay? She's taller than me. And her heel, I'm like, thank goodness it didn't poke a hole in my foot. And she's like, that night, he came up to me in my ear and said, "Don't say hello to me because you're going to make Maria jealous." And I said, "What?" I think what I did was actually, I laughed in her face. And then I said, "What an arrogant asshole." I had no interest in him whatsoever. Now I understand why he stopped writing me because he figured there's nothing that's going to come out of this woman. And I'm like, my God, I can't even believe that he did that. That is just so wrong. You actually getting women to fight over you. So yeah, that's very humorous in my book, because that's all low self-esteem people, by the way, and they all could make really good use of therapists, because they all think that that's cool shit or the way relationships work. No, that's not relationships. That's people who are teenagers, still teenagers, doing movies. And I don't have words except for thank goodness for the attachment and trauma information people, because that way people can grow up emotionally and come on over here for healthy self-worth relationships with healthy self-worth women, men, and days. And it's not, scarlet letter times, please. So if you don't like polyamory, for example, don't join us, because I'm polyamorous, and there's nothing wrong with people that are polyamorous. We're not masochists. And really using a word like that tells me that you don't know, like the people who still, they don't know how to handle their emotions. In fact, that they will present, no, but it's hard to be healthy self-worth, but it's hard to claim your life, but it's hard to, oh my gosh, okay, you do things for society. So are you doing things for your parents? Is that what you're trying to tell me, adult man? And this is, no, but yes, I'm like, well, some of us, we don't do things according to society, our parents, and really we're healthy self-worth because we can do emotions right here. It's all good. So a true badass in the book of any person who's an actual badass, it's called integration of the brain. And it's called I do emotions well and thoughts well. And that's what we get to do here. And we welcome those who are healing trauma. We will be direct communicators always. And of course, you work with people. So again, if somebody says, here's how I'm working with myself, we know how to say, okay, this is what I can do, this is what I can't do. And I'll close out with this example. When somebody shuts you up while you're speaking and makes you not do something that you're actually inclined to consistently do, which is not you controlling it, that's the minute that you've projected your own trigger, your own nervous system stuff, and I can't regulate your nervous system for you. So you're the one who can work with that by being self-aware and then neutralizing it. And actually, perfect example is I would complain about, there's a sound that sometimes people can make. And I don't remember who it was that said, you can make it not be something annoying. And at first I was like, no, no. And then I was like, wait a minute. Yes, I can actually. I can totally do that. That's what it's called, to be self aware. And that's spirituality for you, to love and to live a life of meaning and connection beyond the solo self. So anytime somebody presents to me an opportunity to work with my emotional plane instead of complain, I've worked on it. That's where no teenager here, no 3-year-old, just a person says, that's a good one. Like when they say your body, it's always rigid, afraid, whatever. Let me think. Is it? Oh, yeah, that's right. This is what was happening. Okay, we can work on that one. It's beautiful. Physical mastery. This is where the third thing that you come to master for my lovely mystics. It's emotional, mental, emotional, and physical plane. So we'll be back with more restorative embodiment for translation in human terms, integration of brain, so personal development, self-help taken seriously, and supporting those who are also coming over here. Because when you're healing trauma, that's going to mean you do want to commit to consistent contingent communicators, the ones of us who unconsciously love. We talk to your face. We don't hide behind your back. And we know how to handle all of that, which Cuscos and squirrels. Because see, it's not a movie, my lovely listeners and viewers. It's life. And that's the one thing a 3-year-old will always want to end the day with a hug. We don't want to end the day with anything but a hug. And it makes us very sad, because sadness is the emotion of connection, not mad. Anger is the emotion of correction. Thank you, Daniel Siegel. And certainty is the emotion for, or fears for certainty, something like that. But the sadness is because we are mammals and we want to connect. And when you meet people who are healing trauma, they want to connect to their inner child. So the inner child adult will seek healthy self-worth people. They can find those people here, and we will gladly, I can't wait to share stories of anyone who will want to, that is healing trauma and that is looking to be with healthy self-worth people. The ones who are doing, again, it's emotional lifting. So yes, they can say the word, it's hard to do emotions, but they're not saying it is always going to be hard. I'm never going to get out. I always am going to have apathy. I'm always going to have, no, because the good therapist No, it's not always. And that's where we're going to close it. And I'll be back with some more. Ask your questions, leave your likes, subscribes. The Ask Maria is for now only on the paid subscription based model content on like 11 to 12 platforms for podcasts. Spotify is one of them, just so you know. And once we get to 1K on YouTube, we'll have that as a membership option here as well. Thank you for stopping by. Have a wonderful day.